Right, now it's time to get it running, pre-cooling for this next batch. Next batch is vegetables again, and it's chopped broccoli. Probably just said that. Close the drain valve. Drain valve's closed. I've already got a ring around there from the seal. Okay, time to get it pre-cooling. So I use custom, start custom, and drain valve's closed, continue. I have it set for a 6-hour freeze, and since I'm putting in frozen stuff, that's probably enough. I'll be back in half hour to an hour as soon as it's cold enough and I get around to it, and we'll get the stuff on the trays and get it in. All right, tray 1. So I'm gonna add the parchment paper. And it's not really needed for dry things like this or for anything, I just like them. I think it makes it easier to move them afterwards. Using 2-pound bags of broccoli because they didn't have 5-pound bags. So we've got 5 of these, we'll load them up. We need to end up with tray 1 to get 2.5 pounds. We need 1,889 grams. And that's gonna be pretty full because we need a whole bag plus another quarter. So we'll kind of cram them on there. All right, and as you can see, this is chopped broccoli. We thought it would be good if we wanted to use it in broccoli soup or casseroles or something like that. It'd be basically ready. All right, 1889. And we'll kind of smooth them or level them out a little bit after we get them all filled. And tray 2. So we need to get to 1881 on this tray to get to the 2.5 pounds. Okay, well, 1882, we'll call that good enough to start with. Okay, tray 3. This tray needs to get to 1876 to get to the 2.5 pounds. Okay, so 1877, gonna call that good enough. And tray 4. And we need to get to 1884 on this tray. And basically I'm going to put the whole bag on there, unless it's ridiculously a lot of extra. So 1923. So once again, they're very full trays, but that's what we expect when we're doing 10 pounds in a batch in the medium machine. I'm going to flatten them down a little bit before I put the thermometers in. So I'm going to use a glove so I don't freeze my hand the rest of the way. And try to keep everything on the tray and kind of pack it down a little bit without losing anything because I already weighed. And I know broccoli shrinks a little bit as it dries, and also because the ice in there that will help, or that will allow it, as that goes away, that will allow it to settle down. And frankly, looking at this broccoli, I'm not sure that this is the best brand. The brand that store is switching to seems to be better. But they didn't have the broccoli in that yet. But this would still be really good for broccoli cheese soup or something like that. That's really, really full. Thermometers. Gonna just kind of tuck them in there. Getting them, I want to keep them more than halfway down, but I don't want them touching the bottom of, or the tray. So kind of in the middle, lower third of the food. All right, those are in there. We'll get them wheeled over to the freeze dryer, get them in. So yeah, it's been pre-cooling for quite a while now. Hour 22, and it's -9. So it's past time to get them in. I'm gonna start with the bottom, tray 4. Whoa, that is perhaps the fullest tray I've ever done. Tray 3. This is ridiculous height. Okay, well, sometimes that's what it takes for 10 pounds. Tray 2 and tray 1 at the top. I suspect this is going to take a long time. Jeez. All right, get those in there and get it closed. Okay, I want to make sure there's a good seal. Right now, there's a space right here. I'm going to put my little palette knife in there, just give it a little bit of a twist. Okay, now there's a seal ring all the way around it. The broccoli's in there. It'll be a couple of days before it comes out. What time is it? It's about 8:15 in the evening on the 12th. These will be done on the 14th sometime. We'll come back and check them. For you, it'll just be a few seconds. Don't go away. Okay, it's got a total of 38.5 hours now with the broccoli, including the pre-freeze. I'd added 3.5 hours last night because I knew it was going to finish before I got down here in the morning, so I added enough. It's just about to finish, so we're going to bypass the rest of it, get them weighed, and then back in for the dry check. So yeah, it's down to just about 4 minutes. Trays are already cooling, so get the drain valve opened. And checking tray 1. And I'm going to rotate the trays top to bottom. So tray 4, and I'll put it up on the top. So then tray 3. $8.64 or 3. It's bouncing. So I'll put a little minus sign. Okay, and that one will go up 1. Oops, that's 2. That will come down here. And tray 3 will go up 1. Okay, so we have the weights. Now, so we'll get them restarted for a couple more hours and do our check. Okay, gonna add more time, more dry time. Check the drain valve. Drain valve's closed. Continue. And it should be plenty cool. We'll come back and check it in a couple hours. Don't go away, we'll be right back. A couple hours later, let's check the broccoli out. We'll get them out of there, check the weights, see how they're doing. We'll get the drain valve open. All right, so checking tray 1 off the bottom. Okay, no change. 858, no change. Okay, tray 2. See no change on that one. Tray 3. Okay. Now that one does have change. Okay, 47. That's down 5 grams. Okay, I can't take it out when it's 5 grams. Okay, so this is going to have to go back in. So I think I'll stir them up a little bit because of the way they're all piled up so high. Maybe there's some in the middle still. Okay. And that one, that's interesting. So these two were down by 5 and 7. So only 2 of them changed, but they changed pretty significantly. So I'm gonna put this shield back in there so it's cools. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of stir these up a little bit just to make sure that there's no cold spots in there. So this is the first time we've ever done chopped broccoli, pre-frozen stuff. So I'm gonna put them back in there after I stir them all around, because that was actually a pretty significant amount of water or weight. It's interesting that 2 of the trays didn't change. I think I'll go ahead and double check the weights before I put them back in. Make sure I didn't push anything off the trays. So we're putting them back in because 2 trays lost fairly significant weight, 5 grams and 7 grams. I'm kind of surprised they didn't all lose some weight. So anyway, we'll put them back in and give them 2 more hours and check them again. Tray 1, tray 2, and 3, and tray 4. All right, so more dry time. Close the drain valve. Continue, and plenty cool. So add 15, so I've got the full 2 hours before I check it again. Been 2 more hours with the broccoli. Gonna give that a little bit of a jiggle while it's going. Okay, there's a couple of little water spots going down. Okay, turn the fan off. Going to bypass the last few minutes, and we'll get things out and check them. Open the drain valve. Oh, tray 1, and it hadn't changed last time, and it's pretty close to the same now. It's down a fraction. So tray 2, about the same still. Tray 3, no change this time. And I'm going to go ahead and take them out. So I'm going to hit no defrost. Going to get the defrost fan in place. We'll get them moved over and get them ready for bagging. So the power usage for the broccoli was 28.96 kilowatt hours. I'll go ahead and reset that. Get it ready for the next batch. The broccoli is out of the freeze dryer. It's finished drying. We'll get the weights and then get them bagged, then stored away. This particular brand of chopped broccoli, I don't know if I would do that one again. It's not the best looking. It'll be fine in soups and casseroles or anything, but I wouldn't use it as just plain broccoli. I would probably do my own again, blanch it myself and use that. I think it's better looking. We'll get the broccoli weighed, find out how big of a bag it needs or how much will go in a bag. I'm still going to use the quart bags. See if I need to bag it in ½ pound, 3/4, or if I can get a full pound in the bag. We'll find out how much it weighs and get them bagged. Tray 1, And I'll go ahead and take the thermometers out of all of them. Okay. So 848. That's not very much. It's less than 100 grams of broccoli on there now. It's going to be a tray 2. So 851. Tray 3. 838. 37. Tray 4. 843. So we'll check the weights. So I'll do the math and find out how much per pound, and then we can check to see what'll fit in a bag. So ready to bag the broccoli. We've got them labeled, which batch it is, what it is, the date that it went into the freeze dryer, and how much water it needs. I'll fill that in when I find out how much fits in the bag. So we'll get one of these on there and see what will fit. 38.5 grams would be a pound. So we'll find out how much will fit in here. And again, as always, table's been recently cleaned, so as I spill it, it's still going to be clean and usable. 36. Oh, that's actually pretty close. All I need is a couple more grams. I'm going to give that a shake. It might fit. So I need to get it to 38.5. All right, I can fit a full pound in there. So we'll add the information on there. So 1 pound. So now I've got that it's 1 pound, and then it needs 419 grams to get it back to what it was. And that will be more important if I want to use it in soup or something, or a casserole, which is what I would use this for, because frankly, that's what this would be good for, the pre-chopped. So I do these so you don't have to. I wouldn't get the chopped ones again, at least not this brand. I like the fresh one we did in the past. I'll go ahead and label the rest of these bags for 1 pound, and then we'll get them bagged up. So we'll be right back. Got the rest of the bags labeled, we'll get them filled. I need 38.5 grams per bag. All the broccoli is bagged now. I've got it bagged in the 7mm Mylar bags that are 1 quart size ones. I'm gonna put 300 cc oxygen absorbers in them, zipper them shut, and get them sealed. As soon as that's done, we'll move it over to the bins and get them in. So I'm gonna tuck them down the side. Oh, that one didn't want to go down that side. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, get those zippered shut. And there's really not a lot of air space at the top, so it's not like I can squeeze out a lot, but I'll try to squeeze out any extra air and get them zippered. So it's a fairly full bag, not too bad though. Plenty of, it's about maybe a 1/2 inch space at the top, so just squeezed out any extra air and get them zippered. All right. Okay, now we get them sealed. Move that out of the way for a second. So sealing as high up on the bag as I can, making sure it's nice and smooth. So I want it at the very top of the bag, but I do want the whole seal on there. I'm gonna do it twice real quick on that first one, make sure it's up to temperature. Hold it for a few seconds. Okay, beautiful seal, room for 2 more tries below that in case it goes bad. And as I usually do, I'll write the gross weight of each bag on the corner, so if it ever fails and allows moisture in, I'll know. So now I've got the batch number, what it is, when it went into the freeze dryer, what it weighed when it was fresh, how much water it needs to get it back to that, and what this whole bag weighs now. So as soon as I get all these weighed and marked, we'll move over to the bin and get them in. The broccoli's been freeze dried, bagged, oxygen absorbers, and sealed. It's time to get them into the bin to store. We're still working on bin number 5, the vegetable portion of it, and we'll get them in there and then move on to the next thing. As soon as the freeze dryer is defrosted, we'll put the next thing in there, which is going to be a fruit again. This time we're doing canned apricots or apricots. You have to decide first, are you freeze drying apricots or apricots? That's what's going in next as soon as it finishes defrosting. In the meantime, let's get these bags into bin number 5 and get them stored away. Here's our shredded chicken from last time. So in goes the broccoli. Okay, so with those in there, we'll start working on the next item. I thought it might be worth mentioning the storage bins. Now, a cardboard box with its nice square shape is going to be more efficient for storage than these are. But these are a good price, and they're more sturdy and solid than a cardboard box. They really work well, but they do take up more space. One thing you could do is, because here's a lot of empty space here. One thing you could do is flip every other bin upside down, but then it's upside down, So by putting it upside down, you can close up some of that storage space. But now you've got a bin that's upside down. So when you take it out, you got to make sure you don't lose anything. So they do take some storage. We've got the space to make it work in our shelves and our racks. It might not be the perfect solution for everybody. They're strong enough, and with the amount of weight that's going in them, it looks like you could just stack them or floor stack them and they would hold up very well. They're a very sturdy container. So I don't know, what are you storing yours in? Again, a cardboard box with square sides, very good for space. These are less good for space, but it's easy to move them around. They're going to hold up real well for a long term. I don't have to worry about them if it flooded or something, as long as it doesn't go over the top. You could float these things. Just a thought that I was having. One other thing I just realized was value. The broccoli and the Costco rotisserie chicken, for 10 pounds through the freeze dryer for each of them, there was only about $2.25 difference. So the broccoli is slightly cheaper than the rotisserie chicken. Might not do broccoli unless I can get a great price in the future. Otherwise, I'd rather have the rotisserie chicken. In some of the comments, people have talked about the problems they've had with their freeze dryer. One person's had 7 oilless pumps, plus other pumps, plus machines. So they've had some serious problems, but have worked through it and made it work. On mine, I've only had really one fairly serious problem, and it was an easy fix, but it could have been a big problem. And that's the wire from the switch. The wire from the power plug-in up to the switch. There's a jumper wire that melted down. And so I needed to replace the switch, the plug, the socket, and the jumper wire. So the switch, the jumper wire, and the socket, Plus, I also replaced the actual power cord plug that plugs into the wall. So it plugs in from the machine to the wall. The one that I had got hot. It would get 120 degrees or more. The one I replaced it with says it's the same gauge, but it's visibly heavier and it doesn't get hot. So they must have gotten a bad batch that was labeled wrong or something, and yeah, it was the wrong wire gauge, and so it was getting hot. And if you're interested, I can show a picture of the fried pieces on the community page. Let me know. So that's what's going in there next as soon as it's finished freeze drying. No.